Hey guys and girls, how's it going? I hope you guys are having a great week. So I'm back today with another video, and this one is going to be actually a review video. I've decided that I'm going to do two types of reviews. I'm going to do my more in-depth, detailed reviews that sort of involve a script and are very detailed, and then I'm going to do what are called rapid reviews, where I'll basically just sort of highlight my key thoughts and impressions upon completing certain games. So for example, with God of War, of course I'm going to do a nice detailed review on that game once I finished it, but today I wanted to do my first rapid review looking at the game A Way Out, which came out actually last month, and I just wanted to generally give my thoughts and impressions on it. Now, I decided to pick up this game after I read information about it and some of the reviews, and everything was really glowing, and it was very clear that this game didn't have microtransactions, didn't have any loot boxes, any of the bullshit that we'd come to expect from EA. So I decided to pick up the game and played it with Dante all the way through. You can actually complete the game in roughly 6 to 8 hours. It's not that big a game, only cost $24.99 on the PlayStation Store. I really enjoyed it, and so I wanted to sort of talk about it a little bit and talk about why I think A Way Out is probably one of the most customer friendly games that EA have brought out for years, and why it is definitely worth picking up and definitely worth playing. So to give you a little bit of information on the game, A Way Out is actually developed by Hazelight Studios and directed by Joseph Fares, and he's more well known for his previous game, which was A Tale of Two Sons. It is a fully cooperative experience where you can either play local or online in split screen mode. I think generally you tend to get more out of the experience if you do play it local, especially sat with a friend on the couch. It's a really enjoyable experience. The game focuses on two main protagonists, which is Vincent and Leo, both of which are very different in their style and have obviously very different backgrounds. It starts out as kind of a prison break sort of game, and then it sort of evolves into escaping the police force and going on the run, and it's also a bit of a revenge tale as both Leo and Vincent seek revenge on someone who wronged them in the past. So let's talk a little bit about the game itself. What was good about it? Well, there was a lot about this game that was very good. The cinematography and directing and camera work in this game is second to none. It is a fantastically stylized game. The camera work is brilliant, and it really does complement the cooperative nature of the gameplay. You can basically play as both characters on the screen at the same time, and as you play it, one of you could be, actually carrying out some kind of activity or task or gameplay kind of focus segment, and the other one could actually be watching a cinematic cutscene. It works really well in terms of it's so fluid in terms of the way it works, and sometimes you'll be in separate locations and will come together, and some of those moments are very cool. There's a particular moment in the game for me that was a real standout moment, which was when a hitman was sent after the both of you to kill you, and both Vincent and Leo were trying to hide from this hitman, and the camera actually panned into it 3 split screens. One was the hitman, one was Leo, and obviously one was Vincent, and it was just really cool. You got to see it from the perspective of the hitman and got to see him obviously getting closer, and it just added more sort of drama to the situation as well. There's also a really cool chase scene that happens in the hospital, and I really enjoyed that part as well. The camera work and the direction, the cinematography probably is the best part of this game, and makes it really fun. In terms of the story, it's an okay story, I would say. It starts off a little bit cliche, and it's a little bit predictable in the story to begin with. In terms of the actual prison break section, if you're expecting this game to be 2/3 prison break and then 1/3 running from the police force, then you're going to be a little bit disappointed with that, because pretty much after the first sort of 2 hours you do escape the prison, and that's when then the main story sort sort of kicks in. It does start off a little bit cliche, and it is a little bit predictable, but I would have to say stick with the story, because when you get to the end of the story and on that like 5-hour mark, there is a twist in the storyline which is really cool, and I didn't see coming, and really changes the whole dynamic of what's happened previously. And the ending of the game is super emotional and super impactful and just really good. So the story starts off a little slow, a little cliche, but it then picks up, and then it has a twist that just makes it a really good storyline. In terms of the game itself, there's a lot of player choice and a lot of replayability as well. Whether you choose to play as Vincent or Leo throughout the game, the actions that you undertake, the choices that you make will affect what happens and how different characters react to you. As well, you can talk to any NPC in the game. All NPCs are interactable with, and that's really cool. And there's some really funny kind of awkward moments that happen, particularly one involving a trailer park. But yeah, like they're really good, and like the way the NPCs react to you very much depends on the character that you're playing. So people will react to Leo a little bit differently than they will with Vincent. Leo's a lot more hot-headed, hot-tempered, more likely to go to that kind of fight before sort of resolving the issue with words, whereas Vincent's kind of the opposite of that. And you can choose to either side with Vincent or Leo in terms of making key decisions, and that obviously affects what happens in the story. So there is a lot of replay value if you want to go back to the game and play as a different character and make different choices. In terms of the gameplay is fun and varied, and there are some brilliant cooperative sort of gameplay moments, particularly when it came to escaping the prison. There were some really cool moments where you had to really coordinate with your partner. There's some great car chase moments. There's a great moment where you're rowing down river and escaping the police force. There's even some really cool stealth moments that you have in the game as well, and just the gameplay's fun and it's varied, and you know, you are doing a lot of different things. It doesn't really feel repetitive at any point during the main game or during the story, which is really good. A nice introduction to the game as well was some little competitive moments. There are actually lots of mini games dotted throughout, and they're really cool. Like there's like one where you can play like Connect 4. There's another one where you have like a balancing competition using wheelchairs. There's another one where you end up playing baseball, arm wrestling and so on. There's so many little mini games in it, and I think the whole aim of it is to create this sense of camaraderie and this sense of competitiveness and rivalry not only between the two main characters, but also between the two players that are playing it. So I think that's the case of if you are sat on the couch together and you are playing those mini games, they're really fun, especially if you have a very competitive streak like I do. And it was a lot of fun for Dante and I to be playing those sections. So there's a lot about the game that's really good. Another thing about the game that's really great and fantastic is the fact that you can actually share this game with a friend for free, so that to play it online cooperatively, both parties do not have to own the game. You can actually send a friendship invite or a friendship code to one of your friends and invite them to play the game with you for free, which is super generous and is really awesome. And I think it's a great decision that was made on the part of Hazelight Studios and also on the part of EA. It's a really surprising decision that they chose to support that kind of practice, but I think it's really positive. And I think it encourages more people to play the game and to experience it and to have fun with it. So a lot about the game is really positive, but let's talk a little bit about some of the points that really it could have improved on. So there are, of course, a few niggly issues I had with it. Firstly, when it comes to the split screen, when one of you is sort of walking around and interacting with the world and the NPCs, and the other of you is watching a cinematic cutscene, it is very much possible for the second player to accidentally interact with NPCs, which will kind of cause and trigger NPC commentary to actually overlap with that cinematic cutscene. So sometimes it can be a little bit distracting in terms of watching the story, and you really have to have a very considerate partner to not do that, to not sort of activate things and step in the way of things so that you can both sort of watch that cinematic scene and obviously enjoy it. So it does slow it down that way in a little bit. In terms of the voice acting and facial animations, while for most of the game it's pretty good, there are some segments within the game, particularly early on, and there's these like airplane segments where you're on the plane and you're sort of recapping and recollecting, but some of the voice acting is quite one-dimensional. It's a little bit dull and a little bit emotionless, some of the delivery. And you know, there are elements where there are times when it just feels like the rapport between Vincent and Leo is really lacking, and you know, because of these sort of delivery, a lot of it does lose quite a bit of emotional impact as a result of that. So there are definitely times when then that does happen. Equally, when you're watching a cutscene and your partner's sort of messing around and doing funny things in the world, it can also lose some emotional impact on that cutscene and on obviously what's happening in the story. You know, if your partner's joking around and doing funny things with NPCs and that kind of thing. So yeah, those are sort of some of the issues. In terms of the gameplay as well, there is one section towards the back end of the game where it kind of becomes like a third person shooter, and there is some gunplay involved, and I have to say that the gunplay itself was pretty mediocre, to be fair. The cursors and the kickback and control of the guns was quite poor in comparison to, you know, other kind of third person and first person shooter games like Destiny, for example, where the gunplay is just so smooth and so accurate and you feel in control of it. You really didn't feel that way during these gunplay sections, and so they became a little bit more challenging than perhaps they should have been as a result of that. So those are kind of some of my thoughts on A Way Out and what I generally thought of it. The game itself, of course, if you look at how it's done, it's been incredibly successful. In the first 2 weeks, the game has actually sold over 1 million units, and Joseph Fares has actually confirmed that 100% of those earnings go directly to Hazelight Studios. So EA are actually not making any profit off of this game, which is kind of incredible for EA to decide to do that and to support that kind of thing. So, you know, you got to give credit to EA a little bit here in terms of them backing Hazelight Studios and backing a purely sort of co-op single player story focused campaign, and given the fact that it's sold over 1 million units worldwide, and also that it's received great reviews of 81 out of 100 and 8s and 8.5s on Metacritic, you know, it's been received very positively. And I think it does send a message to EA that single player games, story based games, there is a market for it, that they do sell and that they can do very well. And I do know that Hazelight Studios have confirmed they're working on their next game, but obviously they're in very early stages of that production. But I really enjoyed A Way Out, and I would absolutely recommend it to other people to play. In terms of giving it a score, I'd probably give it an 8.5 out of 10, and I would definitely say that A Way Out is absolutely worth buying if it's something that you're interested in. It's only $24.99, and if you are looking for a game that's short and accessible that you can finish relatively quickly and have a good time with and play with your friends, then A Way Out is definitely a game for you to pick up. So those were generally my thoughts on the game. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Have you played the game? What did you think about it? What would you review it? What score would you give it? Let me know in the comment section below. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video interesting and useful. If you did, please hit the like button as always to show your support. I'll be back again later, guys, with more videos, more God of War playthrough videos to come. And I am also currently working on a review for Ni no Kuni 2 as well. So that's to come as well. So lots of things on the back burner that I'm working on at the moment. But anyway, hope you guys have a great week. Hope you have a brilliant weekend, and I will catch you guys later. Take care, and as always, happy gaming. Bye, guys.